Hey, what's up, EC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. Time for another hard rock and heavy metal update. Just jump into it as always. First, we're listening to Atomica. This is their self-titled. I think this is their second album. I can't remember. Maybe this is their first full length, and they had an EP before this. This is just straight up Brazilian thrash. I actually thought for some reason this was a Mexican band. I don't know why. When I bought this, maybe there is a Mexican band called Atomica. I love 80s Brazilian thrash. This is from 88. If you like that early Anthrax, if you like that early Sepultura or Sarcophago, any of the early 86, 87, 88 era thrash bands from Brazil, that's definitely what this is. I actually read that after this album, though, they went more of a traditional metal route. It wasn't as heavy as what this is, which is kind of disappointing because I love this stuff. Killer, though. And speaking of thrash, an album that I absolutely love. I've shown this a number of times. I pulled it out again to give it a few more spins. Lament for the Weary. I love everything about this album. I love the artwork. I'm so glad this was pressed to vinyl. It may have been originally pressed to vinyl. This one was from 91, so it's possible. But man, that artwork is just so good. Just a really killer. It's just an amazing album. It's one I recommend to everybody. Next up, a couple people have shown this. I actually bought this the day it came out, the CD. I did not know it was released to vinyl. I ended up finding it a few months later. I told Scott about it. I'm pretty sure he grabbed it. Actually, I remember him talking about how bad the quality of it is. I don't think the quality is that bad. I was actually not expecting the quality of this to be as good as it is, because it's pulled from a cassette, and it was just one of those things where they found a cassette they didn't know they had, and here we go. But this is Sword, the Canadian Metal Masters, live at the Hammersmith. Really good show. I really like this. This was the first release, if I remember correctly, from the all-new Combat Records, which is now owned by Dave Ellison. He bought the label, and he signed a few bands. I'm trying to think. I was just talking about this with somebody. He picked up a couple of really good bands. I want to say Ex-Hoarder is on there now, who I'm going to be seeing pretty soon. I want to say in like 2 months I'm going to see Ex-Hoarder. I don't remember who they're opening for. Maybe it's Overkill. I can't remember though. Regardless, I'm going to see Overkill too. God, it's driving me nuts. I can picture the band. I can picture their album covers. It's James Rivera's band. You guys know who it is. It'll come to me. But that band is on the new Combat Records as well. Pointless rant. Regardless, I really like this. I've spun it 6 or 7 times. It's not the best quality. It comes from a cassette. They did a good job mastering it and getting rid of the hiss. It sounds good. I recommend it. Next up, just one of the classic German thrash bands. Been talking about them a lot lately because I've been listening to them a lot lately. This is Who Dominates Who. I'm trying to think. I believe... was this originally an EP? I can't remember. I love this album, though. This may be my favorite of the Accusers. Their first album was a little bit too raw for me. I like their albums after this. I don't want to say they're more polished, but they are. This one kind of gets that middle ground that I really dig. And I absolutely love this one. And if you can find these, No Remorse repressed them. You can still find them for decent prices. Grab them now while you can, because they were done real limited, and once they disappear, they're gone. Next up, just an absolute classic album. Doremi Fazzol Latido. I know I'm saying that wrong. I don't speak Latin. Hawkwind. This is just a classic album. I love every bit of it. This was, man, I want to say the second album with Lemmy on it. Amazing album, though. This is the Back in Black, Back on Black pressing from a few years ago. They're really hard to find. This one was actually at my record store for about 2 years. I used to look at it every time I went there, but they wanted $38 for it. I just thought that was too much. I always wanted it. It sat there. Usually after about a year of an album sitting there, they'll lower the price. This one sat there for a lot longer. Finally, they got around, and they lowered it to $24.99, and I couldn't grab it fast enough. I can't believe it sat there for that long. This is such a great album. But if you like prog, space rock, that's your band. I don't really like the stuff after. I shouldn't say I won't buy the stuff after the Lemmy left the band. I heard one of their albums from the early 80s. It just did nothing for me. They're still putting stuff out, though. I just saw an album from them not too long ago. This next one, I cannot believe I haven't heard anybody talk about this album. This is so good. Actually, this EP, I should say, was it 5 songs? 6 songs. Bat, Ecstasy. Bat is just one of the really high level new wave of, I don't even know if you'd call them new wave of traditional metal bands. One of the band members, the drummer, I think is from DRI. You know, he's been playing thrash since, when did they cross over? 85 maybe. And who else is in the band? The singer is from another band too, and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. Let's see if it says on here. Yeah, Ryan Waste. He's been in a couple of bands. Municipal Waste. Regardless, it's on this opaque white vinyl. I love Bat. I love everything they've released. I've got everything that they've released, and it's a band I highly recommend grabbing all their stuff. If you like new wave of traditional metal, if you like thrash, you won't be disappointed. They kind of have a Motorhead feel to them as well, kind of a speed metal Motorhead thing going on. Killer band though. Killer EP. This was from this year too. When was it? I can't remember when this was, but this was released about, I want to say 6 or 7 months ago. Next up, Killed by Kane. This is the one that Scott turned me on to 3 or 4 years ago. He sent me a copy of their cassette. Then I ran across the CD, and then when Retroactive released this, I think it was 2 years ago, 2018, I grabbed it right away. Really good album, though. Band I don't even think I need to say anything about these guys. I found a white label promo that's in mint condition and grabbed it. This is from '79. This is a self-titled album from Accept. You just can't go wrong with Accept. Even a bad Accept album is still a pretty damn good album. It's like pizza. Next up, this one has been on the want list for years. This is the first time I found it in good condition. Every time I see it, it's absolutely thrash. You guys have seen me talk about this band before and how important this band is to 80s glam. Just to glam in general. This is Stars, live in action. This one is... It's a European pressing, I want to say, on Road Racer Records, Netherlands. Yep. Killer album, though. If you like glam rock from the 70s, if you like glam metal from the 80s, Stars is where it's at. And speaking of the master of glam, the master of shock, this is live from the AstroTurf from Alice Cooper. If I remember correctly, this is the Alice Cooper band, not Alice Cooper the man. He got back together with the band for this show. And this is one I was super stoked to run across. I missed it on Record Store Day. I still want to get the single, which goes for crazy money. These go for insane money, and I found it at one of my local stores, or not local stores. When I went to Florida, I found it at the local store by my dad's house for 20-something bucks. Maybe it was 30, maybe it was like 30 or 32. It wasn't that much, though. Really nice set. Really cool that these guys got back together and did this show. Come on, it's Alice Cooper. Caught in a Dream, Be My Lover, I'm 18, Is It My Body, No More Mr. Nice Guy, Under My Wheels, School's Out, and Elected. Just a killer life. So I tell you what, I'm 18. I have probably heard that song 10,000 times, and I never get sick of it. Just so good. I love Alice Cooper. Anyway, last but not least, this is one of my top 5 albums of the year, and I'm shocked saying it. I don't know what made me buy the CD in the first place. This is the LP. This band has not released an album that I've loved since probably 90. Oh my God, 90. Might be 94. Whenever The Mirror came out from Dream Theater, that is the last album from this band that I've loved. They've had some songs here and there. They've had some live stuff here and there that I liked. I love this album. This is Distance Over Time. This is just such a great album. I don't know what happened with the band that they went back to that. It just takes me back to that era of Dream Theater. You know, Images and Words, The Mirror. Those two albums are two of my favorite albums of the 90s, and this is probably now my third favorite Dream Theater album. It's so good. I can't recommend this one enough. I love the artwork on it. Check that out. Just killer artwork. Again, one of my top 5 of the year. And is that all? I think that's all for now. Take care, VC, and I'll see you soon. Bye.